Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. What you're looking at there to the top right is Plan A, the video that I linked in the prior video. It's a nuclear war simulation between Russia and the United States, and it shows the volley of ballistic missiles, nuclear ballistic missiles. In this case, the first shot is an aircraft carrying a nuclear weapon going into some European country, dropping it, and then the volley of nuclear missiles start. And there's hundreds of nuclear weapons deployed, whether it's from submarines or land-based missile silos. And this is the war game. This is what they see as the start of nuclear war between Russia and United States. All the very different stages of it, and the casualties related to it, and the tactics involved in it. It's about 4 minutes. I highly recommend you go watch it. It's interesting, but we're getting close to that. The article you see on the left-hand side is War News 247, and Putin says nuclear forces are in combat position. We will not allow anybody to threaten us. There you see the waves of Russian forces and bombers going out to drop nuclear weapons on Europe, and then ultimately you'll see in the later step it'll expand to basically the West hitting the East, and Russia hitting U.S., etc. Russia will do everything to avoid a clash of world powers, but will not allow anybody to threaten us. He says our strategic forces are always in a state of combat readiness. At the moment, Russia's Yars intercontinental strategic missile was passing by, which, according to the TV presenter, has a guaranteed ability to hit a target anywhere on the planet. And this, I think, this is part of the counterforce plan that you're seeing on the right-hand side there, where a significant volley starts coming from United States. So it goes on here, referring to military exercises with nuclear weapons that Russia will carry out. Putin argued that this is not something unusual. While regarding developments on the Ukrainian front, he noted that the objectives on the battlefield must be achieved with the least possible human losses. What did they use in World War II to guarantee the least possible human losses? They used nuclear weapons, folks. The United States argument for dropping the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima was that it was going to end the war sooner, thereby limiting the number of casualties overall in the war. So this is what Putin's saying. His nuclear forces are ready to go. Look at the volley, the ballistic missiles striking in both places. These things are set to go off. These have dead man switches, so that if the leader is taken out, these still continue to go. So it's an incredible thing. Here is a warning by Mark Armstrong, talking about a perfect storm of kind of war, economic trouble, and the collapse of society all around. Is that you need at least 2 years worth of food. And I will add to that you need 2 years worth of something, if you know what I mean, to defend that food as well, because other people will not be ready. Who has 2 years of food on hand? I certainly do not. Do you have enough seeds to plant a garden? Do you know how to garden and keep it going year after year? Most people don't. The financial system is about to tank, it says. Armstrong says, I think the U.S. could default on its debt in 2025. You know what they're going to do before that? They're going to take us to war because they're not going to want to default on the debt. As early as 2025, but possibly in 2027. Now, this all kind of interestingly adds up to, the year 2028 and the return of the Lord, or, that first 3.5 year period, which comes prior to the year 2028. I think it's an interesting timing there. So let me put that, I'll show you again here. Here's the start of the video. But he says, they think by going into war, that's the excuse to default on the debt. They simply will not pay China. That's exactly it. And they're going to blame one on the other. They're going to blame war on the economy and the economy on the war. And they're going to get out of paying, their debtors, the U.S. will, everyone they owe money to, China and Japan and all these countries. They're going to get away with it, or get out of it, by effectively going to war and saying, we're not going to pay you. Let's go to war. Let's see who wins. It's absolutely incredible. So he says, so once that happens, you go into war, and that is their excuse on this whole debt thing to collapse, which wipes out pensions. Then they can blame Putin. Perfect opportunity, right? Blame Putin for the collapse of the economy. What is the president going to do at the time? Well, it's Putin's fault. Well, it's Xi's fault from China. It's their fault. It's not our fault for printing money out of thin air for many, 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 many years and hyperinflating and causing the dollar to be worth nothing. No, it's the fact that these other people wanted to go to war. Meanwhile, the U.S. isn't looking for peace anywhere in the Middle East or in Ukraine. There seems to be no interest in this. While Putin has come out and he said, you know what, there are ways for peace, and we do want to work towards that. It says, we have kicked the can down the road as far as we can go. It's not just the United States. Europe is in the same boat. So is Japan. This is why they need war. This is why they need war, he says. And this is exactly what's coming. As we get closer to economic collapse, we get closer to war. They go hand in hand, and the politicians will use one to excuse the other. Let's see. For food supplies, I think you need safely 2 years worth of food supply. That's what I have, he said. It's not just prices will go up, but mainly because there will be shortages. So what do you really need? What are there shortages of, or could there be shortages of that you will need? Think about what happened in the beginning of the pandemic. Toilet paper was completely torn off the shelves. Luckily, in that case, that was a warning to you. That's kind of God's warning, I think, to say, look, in this one case of toilet paper, you couldn't get it. What's going to happen when things really go sideways and you can't get anything? All the shelves are stripped bare. He says, then you do not know what they are going to do with the currency. They will do whatever they have to do to survive. That's what governments always do. They will take you to war. This is a good idea for gold and silver, although the Bible does say in Revelation that, when God's wrath comes, gold and silver will be thrown into the streets. They're not going to be worth anything. You can't pay off God when the wrath starts. But prior to that, the first 3.5 years, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, I believe that that indeed can be used and may prove useful. Dollars, U.S. dollars, Canadian dollars will be good in the first couple of days, couple of weeks of the disaster of the economic collapse. But then as they hyperinflate and it costs you a wheelbarrow full of cash for a loaf of bread, then you move to silver and then to gold because ultimately that has intrinsic value, actually value that you use for manufacturing. So there's a value to it versus your plastic currency as we have here in Canada. So I'll leave it there, guys. Go check out Plan A. It's a very interesting video, and get prepared. I don't know what to say. Bible says it's coming. History repeats itself. History, effectively says that World War III is coming. The economy is tanking. That means the governments are going to take us to war. If you look at history, you think the government, the politicians are going to do something different than they have always done over the last 6,000 years? No, they will always distract. They will say, look over there. It's not my fault. Look over there. It's his fault. And they'll say it's Putin, the big bad boogeyman. So thanks for watching, folks. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.